Welcome to this video, and in this video I am going to show you what you need to do if you are looking at applying to the Duke Fuqua MBA program this year, that is 2017-2018. Well, let's first understand a little bit more about the school, especially if you're an international applicant, if you're applying from a country like India. A lot of the USB schools, they take the culture very seriously. So if you go to the Duke website, you will see that they talk about this thing called Team Fuqua, right? So the Team Fuqua is essentially about how they are very collaborative in their spirit. So this is different from, let's say, a thing like Harvard, right, or many of the larger colleges where they don't so much pride about being bonded to each other. Correct. So I think Fuqua has one huge advantage when it comes to at least demonstrating it. So if you go reach out to people who have been alums, you'll see most of them are more than happy to kind of help you there. Correct. We have had a lot of students at Crack Verbal over the last many years. In fact, almost every year we have had one student who has gone into Fuqua. In fact, we have Mansha who got into the program last year, and you can see her interview in the link below. Now, the second thing about the Fuqua program is the healthcare specialization. Again, this is something that is hard to miss. They are also connected with the Duke University, which has one of the best healthcare programs. And the place they are, which is in North Carolina, there is a research triangle. So locationally, there is an advantage. The connection with the university is an advantage. So in case you're looking at healthcare, then Duke is the place to be. However, if healthcare is not your cup of tea, don't try to retrofit into your stories or into your essays. I'm just saying this, as one of the points that Duke is famous for. The third thing that Duke is famous for is really the way in which the curriculum is structured, right? So if you look at it, the curriculum is having a lot more electives in the first year. The actual courses are also a lot shorter, so that gives you the flexibility to choose a lot more electives, so that by the time you actually complete the first year, you're ready for the summer internship. You have all the right stories to put in your resume, right? And also in the interview, you can express your interest by saying that, hey, I took these electives, hence I'm in a better position to actually do well in this job. This is as opposed to most other colleges where the first year is very rigid, correct? So you have to go through a bunch of core courses. So pretty much these are the things that are a little different about Duke. As I said, most students who apply to Duke from Crack Verbal from India are looking at it as a top 10 kind of school. So it's usually ranked somewhere in the 7 to 10 range, depending on which rankings you look at, whether it's US News or Business Week, right? The Bloomberg rankings. Just looking at the data, the average age is probably slightly higher, but really don't read too much into that. The important thing, GMAT range 640 to 750. My personal experience, students applying to Duke have typically gotten in with a range of 710 to 740, at least the students we have had in the last few years. So definitely you need to get into the zone which is the lower 700s if you're looking at a realistic chance at Duke. Right. Now, coming to a very important thing about Duke is they have a early action round, right? The early action round this year is for September 12th, and then you have the round 1, which is October 10th, round 2, which is January 3rd, which is very typical post the Christmas break, and then you have the round 3, which is March 20th, which for international applicants is something that I wouldn't recommend. Now, what really is early action round? A huge problem that many of the colleges in this 7, 8 to about 20th, 25th rank, what they face is many of the students are looking at applying to other similar schools. So a person applying to Duke is also applying to a Haas Berkeley, is also applying to a Darden, correct? The rating or the metric that they look at is yield percentage, which is of the number of people that I made an offer to, how many of them really took up my offer, right? So B schools really work on that number. They really want a high yield percentage. So what Duke has done is it has this binding offer. Okay, so if you apply in the early action round, you really are telling that I'm going to write in blood saying that I'm going to join you. I won't apply to any other school. And if you are made the offer and you decide to take up the offer, you will not apply to any other B school, right? So you can see how it makes sense for Duke, right? Because they have a pool of people very competent that they are admitting, and they know that these people are going to join the program. From a student perspective, how does it help? It is better than applying in round 1 or round 2. You have an advantage in terms of the probability of getting in, right? Not many schools have this advantage of an early action round. Duke has it, so in case Duke is one of the schools that you're looking at applying, please go ahead and take them up on this offer. Okay, so now let's get to the meat of it. Let's talk about the actual application essays, right? So Duke usually has the first essay, which it calls as the 25 random things, and if you go through it, it says that is how people who join the faculty, the admissions team at Duke really introduce themselves. Question that most students have is, what do I write? What are the possible things that I can write? 25 things, right? It's a lot. So this is not one of those essays that you can do an all-nighter, correct? It's very important that you plan yourself for this essay. So what you would need to do is create, the following buckets, okay? The first bucket is personal things that happened to you. Could be where you were born, something about your siblings, something about your parents, something about the city that you grew up in, right? So I'll give a couple of examples. Some students have written about how both their parents, are teachers, and how they kind of got to know that teaching is such a noble profession early on in their career, right? Just a tidbit, just a fact. Someone spoke about their name and they said, my name is very interesting. It actually means this in Sanskrit. Just a random fact, right? You don't need to have each and every fact tell why you should be getting into an MBA program, okay? Don't try to retrofit it, correct? People have spoken about their siblings and they've said, the interesting thing is we have 3 brothers, but the eldest one is like 10 years older to me. So it's almost like he's my surrogate father. Correct. So these are the kind of interesting things about you from a personal aspect. Then the second thing could be hobbies or quirks that you have, right? I like, riding my bike late at night, and I sometimes go on this 30-40 mile trip, and I see that it sometimes clears up my thinking. I just go out on the road, without really thinking too much. But by the time I'm back, I just have this moment of clarity. Or you could talk about a particular hobby that you have or you picked up when you were in school. Maybe you are a trivia quizzer. Maybe you like quizzing. So something about that. So pick something interesting that you did when you were in school, when you were in college. Right? Or it could even be a quirk. So one of my students had written this. She said, whenever I look at a car registration number, I look at the 4-digit number and I start mentally doing math, right? Like I start saying, is it divisible by 4? Is it divisible by 6? Is there any unique combination that I can get out of those numbers, right? And then she went on to say that, this is also possible, reason why I play Sudoku. So something about you, hobbies. The third category could be things, in relation to work, slightly more professional, maybe an NGO involvement that you have, maybe something at work, maybe something that your colleagues call you, right? What you do, anything, but don't try to make it into a bullet point that should go into your resume, correct? Definitely not. But yeah, you can pick something about your professional life that can be interesting. Here is an example. So one student had written that he had actually, figured out a solution in the company which got them recognition, and he actually had his name in the annual newsletter for the company. And he said that was my biggest achievement in life. Correct? Small thing that you did, great outcome that you got out of it, but something that really excited you. Correct? The fourth thing could be a little internal, something that is more introspective, something that is you as a person. For example, you could talk about things like, what are the qualities that really define you? What is the adjective that people would use to describe you? For example, you could say that I am a person who likes to constantly be challenged at work, and that's probably one of the things that you could write, right? So these are broad buckets, broad categories in which you could divide the 25 things. And if you really look at it, you just need about 4 or 5 in each of these buckets, right? Don't keep it to yourself. Go and ask people. Maybe you can ask your friends, maybe you can ask your family, maybe you can ask your mother, right? What are the things that you think is unique? And have a list of around 50 things, right? Have a list of around 40 things, and slowly cull it down, right? And get down to the top 25. Again, this is not so much about them deciding whether you're fit for an MBA, but they are really saying, is this person interesting? Has he or she done enough things in their lives? Have they done enough introspection about themselves? Correct? So that's really what this essay is looking for. Would I want to meet this person, for a face-to-face interview? Would I like them to be part of this college for the next 2 years? Correct? So keep that as the focus for this essay. Now, moving on to the next one, we have the instruction is that your response should be. So for the first one, you have 25 points. Pretty much it should be around 2 pages. The second essay is Fuqua prides itself in cultivating a culture of engagement. As I mentioned, the Team Fuqua, the spirit. Our students enjoy a wide range of student-led organizations that provide opportunities for leadership, development, and personal fulfillment, as well as an outlet for contributing to society. Right? Based on your understanding of the Fuqua culture, how do you see yourself engaging in and contributing to our community outside of the classroom? As I said, it's a huge part of the Team Fuqua, right? So they want people who are not here just, saying take, but also people who are like give, right? What is it that you can contribute? So the best way to do is probably pick 3 or 4 themes. I think the mistake that students typically do in this essay is they go to the Fuqua website, they pick a laundry list of 500 things, and they just write like one line about each. Don't do that, correct? Pick 3 or 4 things that are central, things that, for example, let's say you're in technology, correct? So you want to pick something that is core to you. So you want to say, I want to be in the technology club, correct? What is it that you can contribute? What is it that you can take from that, correct? And it should be personal. 3 to 4, each one having about, let's say, 250, 300 words, okay? You pretty much have an opening and then you have an ending. So if you were to put all of it, it will fit in 2 pages, but pick only 3 or 4 broad things, okay? Don't make the mistake of picking like 100 things over here. And then finally, we have an optional essay. Students ask, should I write the optional essay? Write the optional essay when you feel there is something that is really important. The mistake, again, I've seen students making over here is that they just feel, oh, there is one more thing that I want to tell, and they just try to fit in this accomplishment, which doesn't really make sense, correct? Here are some of the things that you could possibly address over here. If you have an academic break, if you have a break in employment, if you want to explain maybe a poor integrated reasoning score on your GMAT, if you want to talk about something like, for example, I have a US citizenship, or let's say, I have my own network, and I would like to, just let you know that though I believe the career advancement or the career placement services would help me, I also am going to rely on my own network. Anything that can help explain or improve your candidature, correct? So just don't write it just because you have real estate and you want to write a few hundred words more. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have. In case you are interested in knowing how Crackfable can help you, why don't you just go ahead and click on this link below. I personally, by the way, respond to all comments, so please make sure that you also comment on this video. I hope this video was useful to you. Thank you.